Okay, let's talk about car insurance claims. If you've ever had the misfortune of needing one, you know the drill, right? The stress of the accident itself, and then the waiting. Waiting for an adjuster, waiting for them to come out, look at the car, waiting for the estimate. It's often slow and honestly pretty frustrating. But what if you could skip most of that? Imagine just, taking a few pictures with your phone, uploading them, and boom, getting a detailed repair estimate back in like minutes. Well, that's not science fiction. It's actually happening right now. So today, our mission is a deep dive into the source material we've gathered on how artificial intelligence, specifically advanced image recognition, is completely changing auto damage assessment. We want to give you a shortcut to understanding how this works and, importantly, the real benefits we're seeing.
And it's a really significant shift we're observing. This isn't just some minor tech update. It's fundamentally altering how claims get handled. It's becoming a competitive necessity, really. The speed, the efficiency. It boosts customer satisfaction quite a bit. And for insurers,
Yeah.
huge operational savings. So yeah, understanding this tech is moving from nice to have to pretty much essential if you're in the auto insurance game.
Right. Okay, so let's unpack that. We hear AI analyzes photos, but that sounds a bit, I don't know, too simple, like a fancy photo filter. It must be way more complex to tell the difference between, say, a minor paint scratch and a really serious dent that affects the structure. How does the software actually see and understand damage?
Yeah, it's definitely more than a filter. The core technology, it's a specific type of machine learning model called a convolutional neural network, or CNN. These CNNs are specifically built to process visual information. Think of it like how our brains learn to recognize objects. You don't just see one car and instantly know all cars. You see thousands, different angles, lighting. The CNN does something similar. It breaks the image down pixel by pixel, looking for basic features, first lines, curves, textures. Then it combines those small features to recognize bigger patterns. So this specific pattern of light reflection might mean a dent, while this series of lines could indicate structural stress. It learns to connect those visual patterns to specific types of damage.
Okay, so it identifies the feature like dent on rear bumper Toyota Camry. That makes sense. But then how does it put a price on it? That seems like the other half of the equation. Where does the AI get the cost information from? What's it comparing the damage it sees against to generate, a reliable repair cost?
All right, good question. It taps into what we can call a trifecta of data sources. It needs all three, really, to generate a solid estimate almost instantly. First, it checks against massive repair databases. These tell the AI, based on the specific car, the VIN number, make, model, what the standard procedure is to fix that damage and how much labor time it typically takes.
Okay, standard procedures and labor. What's the second?
Second is historical claims data. So it looks at millions of past claims. It sees what was initially estimated for similar damage and compares it to what the final actual repair cost was. This helps keep the estimates grounded in reality, preventing, say, consistent underestimation.
Makes sense. And the third part of that trifecta?
That would be real-time parts pricing. Parts costs fluctuate, right?
Yes.
Supply chains, location, manufacturer changes. The AI pulls current pricing for the specific parts needed for that make and model. So it combines the standard labor, the historical cost validation, and the current parts price. Put those three together, and that's how it generates that detailed line item estimate so quickly.
Fascinating. And it's not just a one-time calculation, is it? You mentioned machine learning, so it's constantly getting smarter. What happens if there's a brand new car model or maybe a really weird accident type it hasn't seen much before? Does it get stuck?
That's a key point. It's designed to learn, but also to recognize when it's uncertain. The sources we looked at confirm this. If the CNN encounters something novel, a new model, an unusual damage pattern it hasn't been trained on extensively, it flags it. It basically says, I'm not entirely sure here, and routes it for human review by an experienced adjuster. But crucially, the outcome of that human review, the validated damage and cost, gets fed back into the system. So the AI learns from that new case. It's this continuous feedback loop that refines the algorithms, making them better at handling new situations and improving overall accuracy over time.
Okay, that continuous improvement makes sense. Which brings us nicely to performance. We've talked about the how, the CNNs, the data. Let's pivot to the results. What are the sources actually saying about how well this works in the real world? The scale, the impact.
The scale is pretty impressive, actually. It shows this isn't just experimental anymore. One key industry report from 2025 that we reviewed, it found that AI image recognition has already processed over 1 million claims globally. So the data set underpinning these algorithms is huge, and it's been tested across many different markets and scenarios.
Wow, over 1 million claims. That definitely shows it's being adopted widely. Okay, so looking at the benefits reported in the sources, speed and accuracy seem to be the big headlines. Let's tackle speed first. That's often the biggest frustration for customers, right? The waiting.
Absolutely. And the numbers are striking. The sources consistently cite that AI estimation can cut the overall claim resolution time by up to 60%. 60%.
Yeah.
And the how is straightforward. It cuts out the manual steps. The scheduling, the travel time for the adjuster, the inspection itself, the manual data entry and cost lookup, all that time, which could take days, gets compressed into minutes once the customer uploads the photos.
So 60%. Does that mean for like a typical fender bender, you could potentially get the initial okay for repairs almost right after the accident happens, while you're still dealing with everything?
For many standard claims, yeah, potentially. The estimate itself is generated, like we said, often within minutes. This means the insurer can issue that initial authorization super fast, so you, the customer, can start contacting repair shops almost immediately instead of waiting days just for that first green light. It really changes the whole feel of the process, less waiting, more doing.
Okay, speed is great, but it can't be fast and wrong. If the AI estimate is way off, that just creates problems down the line with the repair shop. How accurate are these things proving to be?
That's where the extensive training and the data comparison really pay off. The AI is systematic. It doesn't forget things or make typos like humans sometimes can. The data shows these AI-generated estimates are aligning with the final actual repair costs very closely, typically within a margin of about 5 to 10%. That level of accuracy, combined with the speed, is what makes it a really powerful tool.
Right, 5–10% is pretty tight for an initial estimate. And thinking about the insurer side, this speed and accuracy must translate into cost savings for them too, right? Fewer adjuster visits, faster processing.
Oh, definitely. The operational efficiency gains are significant. The sources highlight two main areas. First, reducing the need for field adjusters to physically inspect every minor claim, which is costly and time-consuming. Second, automating that complex process of gathering repair info and parts prices. When you process claims, especially at scale, with less manual labor and overhead per claim, the savings add up quickly for the insurer.
And does that saving trickle down? The sources mentioned it potentially leads to lower premiums for customers.
They do frame it as potential, yes. Insurers don't always pass on every single saving directly. However, in a competitive market, and auto insurance is usually very competitive, significant, consistent operational savings often do eventually lead to more competitive pricing. Lower costs allow them room to lower premiums to attract or retain customers. So it's not guaranteed, it's the logical next step.
Okay, let's shift focus a bit to the customer side of things again, the actual experience. It sounds efficient for the insurer, but how easy is it for someone who's just had an accident and is probably stressed out?
The design goal is maximum simplicity. Instead of navigating phone calls and appointments, the customer typically uses the insurer's mobile app. The app itself usually guides you, telling you exactly what photos to take, specific angles, maybe a short video of the damaged area. You just follow the prompts, upload the images, and that's pretty much it from your end. All the complex analysis happens behind the scenes almost instantly. For most common claims, it removes the need to schedule and wait for that in-person inspection.
So it simplifies the interaction dramatically. Now, the source is mainly focused on what's possible today with standard phone photos. But looking ahead, based on the future-focused parts of our research, where does this tech go next? If it's already this good with 2D pictures, what's the evolution?
Yeah, the next wave seems to be about integrating even richer data, especially for more complex damage scenarios. We're seeing movement towards using things like drone imagery and even 3D modeling. Think about a rollover accident or a severe side impact where damage might be hard to capture fully with just phone pics. Drones can get images from every angle, roof, undercarriage, you name it. And even more advanced is the use of 3D scanning or modeling. This creates what's called a point cloud, basically, a super detailed, millimeter-accurate 3D digital model of the damaged car. Feeding that data into the AI gives it an incredibly comprehensive understanding of the damage, including subtle structural issues. This could potentially shrink that 5–10% estimate variance even further and make sure absolutely everything is accounted for upfront.
Interesting. So whether it's smarter photo analysis now or these 3D models tomorrow, the core idea seems consistent. Use AI to make the whole claims process faster, fairer, and maybe less opaque for the customer.
Exactly. It's all about reducing that friction, speeding things up, and ultimately getting the customer back on the road sooner.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. What's the key takeaway for you, the listener, from this deep dive? It's that AI image recognition powered by these CNNs isn't just coming, it's here. It's already providing detailed, fast repair estimates by synthesizing repair procedures, parts costs, and historical data. And the results are significant. Claims can be resolved up to 60% faster, with estimates landing within 5–10% of the final repair cost. This tech is fundamentally changing the auto insurance landscape.
And thinking about that change, here's something maybe to mull over. We've talked about how this AI is getting better and better, constantly learning, and reducing the need for human adjusters to do routine inspections. So what does that mean for the future role of the human claims adjuster? If the AI handles more of the straightforward damage estimation, where does the human focus shift? Does it move more towards handling complex liability questions, investigating potential fraud, or maybe becoming more of a customer advocate, guiding people through the really severe or unusual cases? How does that role evolve?
That's a really interesting point to consider as this technology continues to advance, something for all of us to watch. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the changing world of insurance. We hope you'll continue exploring how AI is reshaping so many industries around us.